وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي، أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا مع ليلى الحسيني في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan with Layla Al-Husseini. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues with your host, Layla Al-Husseini.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, January 18th, 2019, and I'm Ray Hanania, your host. You're listening to the Arab Street Radio and Podcast, broadcast from Chicago through 690 AM WNZK Radio in Detroit, Michigan. We're going to be taking your calls at 248-557-3300. 248-557-3300. You can go to thearabstreet.org to get more information about the show and how to listen to it. As you know, you can listen to the show here within the range of the radio station, or you can go online. We got the links to those on our website at thearabstreet.org. Today's radio show topic involves rumors and reports. There's some news reports, mainly from the Israelis, which we're going to talk about why that is. But rumors and reports that President Donald Trump is going to unveil a peace plan, his deal of the century, to give Palestinians basically 90% of the West Bank to form their own state with a sharing of East Jerusalem, although the old city and the holy sites, the sites holy to Christians, Muslims, and Jews, would be managed by Israel in cooperation with the Palestinian government. The rumored plan would also allow Israel to annex its major settlements and officially make it part of the Israeli state, and would swap lands with the Palestinians for the settlements that they would be taking. So now this sounds like the exact same plan that we've been talking about for, 20, 30 years, 25 years? Is that it? Since 25 years, since 1993. And it's never gone anywhere. But I think it's never gone anywhere, not because it's not a good plan. I think it is a good plan, and I support it. I think this is the whole reason why I supported Trump, because he's the only guy. I'm telling you, the Israelis are becoming more right-wing every day, more reticent, more arrogant. They don't want peace. They don't believe they need to do it. They saw what happened to Bill Clinton. They saw what happened to, everybody that's tried to propose a peace plan. It's failed, I think, in part because they made it fail, but also because the Palestinians didn't have the courage to believe in themselves that they could build a state. Now, my feeling is that statehood like this could calm, in 10, 20, 30 years, calm the region. Maybe the two sides would end up becoming friends. And who knows, maybe you would have one state. Maybe you'd have two states that would be in confederation, where Israelis and Jews in Israel and non-Jews in Israel could live there. Palestinians, Jews, Muslims, and Christians could live in the Palestinian state. I don't think these states mean that, hey, just because you have an Arab state, Jews can't live in it, or that just because you have Israel, only Jews can live in that state. I think that what we need to do is bring the tension down and the hatred down. And the only way to do that is they have some system, some agreement that allows both sides to get along. Now, in spite of all the rhetoric that and the hate from A lot of Israeli leaders, there's some nut jobs out there. The hate from Nikki Haley, the UN ambassador, she's just horrible. Probably one of the most disgusting, reprehensible people I have ever come across in all my years of journalism. Nikki Haley is probably the most reprehensible, in spite of all the extremist Palestinian voices that are out there who believe, hey, we're not going to make peace because one day we're going to reverse everything and take back all the land. I don't know how that quote-unquote miracle is going to happen, and probably never will, but I understand what these extremists on both sides are doing. They don't exist if there's peace. The fanatics and the extremists on both sides don't exist if there's going to be peace. So they don't want peace. They want continued violence, hoping that one day, the Israeli fanatics, Benjamin Netanyahu is not the most fanatic, which is really an outrageous statement because he is. I think Benjamin Netanyahu is a fanatic and is an extremist, but he's not the worst. That's the most disgusting thing. So this morning, let me repeat it, we're going to talk about the rumors that President Donald Trump will unveil a peace plan to give Palestinians 90% of the West Bank to form their own state with a sharing of East Jerusalem, although the old city and the sites holy to Christians, Muslims, and Jews would be managed by Israel in cooperation with the Palestine state. The rumored plan would also allow Israel to annex its major settlements, providing land swaps with the Palestinians for the settlement lands that they would lose. They would swap land. Now, it's not the most perfect plan, and like I said, people have tried this. Bill Clinton tried it, and maybe if he hadn't wounded himself with Monica Lewinsky and his future wasn't in jeopardy, he might have actually been fair toward the end, but he wasn't. But the point is that politics does get in the way of all this. This is one reason why I did support President Trump. The guy can't control his mouth, okay? When it comes to everything else, he just can't stop himself from making himself look bad. He has some good ideas, but he's incapable of presenting himself in a positive way. But hey, at the time, he was the best. And from a very selfish and narrow perspective, I felt that of all the candidates, this was the guy that was going to do something in the Middle East. And I'll tell you what, even had he not won, nobody would have done anything. Nobody would have. They would have allowed it to continue to simmer and boil and rot. And I'll tell you what, the way the situation is today, it's not good for the Palestinians. The Israelis are arrogant. Their government, there are a lot of Israelis who support peace, but the government, and you have to say most Israelis don't, because they keep electing governments that don't want peace or that reject peace, or that say that a Palestinian state will never be established. That type of hatred from the Israeli officials in the Israeli government is outrageous. But it's tolerated from Israel because Israel has been spending 70 years building up a environment in which their views are believed and the Palestinians are not. We've made a lot of mistakes as Palestinians and the Israeli-Palestinian peace movement. We haven't used the media the proper way. We haven't done enough. Just this week I was reading a story in Haaretz where Netanyahu's social media, he doesn't just have one campaign. This guy has social media for Hebrew. He has social media for English. He has social media for Arabic. He has social media for Farsi. Now, why? And there are hundreds of thousands of followers that he has in each of those. And every day he pumps out very strategic communications to all these audiences. I was looking up Mahmoud Abbas, the president of Palestine, and he barely has, 300 followers on his Twitter account, and it's all Arabic. And then I looked up Ahmed Tibi and Ayman Odeh, the two Palestinians in the Israeli Knesset, among 13, I believe. And they have two accounts that are, I think, like 60,000 followers on Twitter and 75,000 followers on Twitter. The point is, they're not even in the game. And I'm not sure the Palestinians recognize what the game is. I think it's a big problem. So that's what we're going to be talking about this morning here at the Arab Street Radio and podcast. Again, I'm Ray Hanania, and it's Friday, January 18th. And we're broadcasting from Chicago through 690 AM WNZK AM radio in Detroit, Michigan. Our phone line is 248-557-3300. My feeling is that Palestinians should accept this plan. It's not the best plan in the world. Listen, the Israelis don't want us to accept the plan. I think we should accept the plan because I believe in 20 or 30 years of peace or getting along or not viewing each other as a threat, that we might actually come together and create one state. This can evolve. The haters are going to say, on the Israeli side, are saying, they're going to say, oh yeah, the reason you want to accept this state is you want to destroy Israel. No, I don't want to destroy Israel. I want to recognize both sides, but I want both sides to have equality. This is the road. This is the street, people. It's one way. There's only one way. And if you don't go down there, you will sit in the muck and you will sit in the violence. You will sit in the tragedy and the continued suffering for generations. And like I was saying, the extremists on both sides, they do not want peace because this is their job. This is an employment employer for them. Conflict is their employer. They're employed by the conflict, and they become famous. They become leaders. They become the big speakers at all these conferences where hate is cheered on both sides, the Israelis and Palestinians. And if peace were ever to come, they would all be out of a job. Let's put the extremists out of a job. Let's embrace peace. At least there's some hope there. And again, I think from a Palestinian perspective, down the road, we might see the two states come together and respect each other. And one day we might have a vision where Palestinians can live and, buy land, and they could live in Israel from the West Bank, and Israelis can live in the West Bank. We could, have citizenship on both sides. We could have immigration on both sides. We could still have two distinct identities. It could still be the home for the Jewish people, and it could be a Palestinian homeland for both of them. There could be overlap. That isn't the destruction of Israel. Some of the fanatics will say, Ray, the only reason you're proposing this plan is because it means a dismantling of Israel as we see it. Well, it is a dismantling of Israel, the extremist Israel, the violent, militant Israel that exists today. The Israel that kills 295 civilians along the Gaza border because they can do it. They don't need to do it, but because they can do it using sniper rifles. Shooting, and the reason you use a sniper rifle is because the distance is so far. It's not like the Palestinian is like 10 feet away and he's imposing a threat on the Israelis. These Palestinians are 300 yards away. They couldn't, even the best football player can't throw a football 300 yards. They can barely throw it 80 yards. So what's the fear? So they're picking off these Palestinians and shooting them out of enjoyment. And that's the most disturbing thing of this conflict. There are people on both sides who are enjoying the killing, and I think it's time to stop. I think we need to push for this peace plan. It doesn't matter that it's President Trump. We've seen good, bad, whatever political leaders come and go. It's the substance of the plan where to lead us, and I believe this peace plan that President Trump is rumored to be preparing to unveil, what he calls the deal of the century, is something we need to support. And I'm going to push at every opportunity to shame Israelis and Palestinians who reject it. Shame them that their choice would be to have Palestinians live in continued suffering for the rest of their existence while extremist Israelis erase them from Palestine. Erase everything about Palestine. The nation-state law that the Israelis passed erases. It's the beginning of the erasure of the Palestinian people from Israel. They are cleansing ethnically your identity, and you're letting it happen because you prefer your anger. You prefer to simmer in hate and anger, and you prefer to do nothing except, we write all these columns. I mean, sometimes I look at the columns I write and I go, what's the point? All we're doing is feeding our choirs. Who's reading it? We're not influenced. We need to come up with something, and this is better than what we have. This will give people like me and others who believe in peace something to hold on to and to hold up in the air and wave and say, we need peace. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, hopefully we'll take some phone calls. The question is, do you support a plan that creates two states, that gives Palestinians 90% of the West Bank, allows Israel's going to control the old city and the holy sites with cooperation with the Palestinians, and there'd be a land swap. That's it. That's the only thing we have left. Do you support it, or if you don't, why? And what other alternative do you have? Tell me what your peace plan is if you reject this. I want to hear it from anybody that has the courage, any of the fanatics out there who have the courage to say they don't want to support this peace plan because they got a better idea. I want to know what that idea is, because so far they don't give us ideas. The extremists don't give us ideas. I'm Ray Hanania. This is the Arab Street Radio and Podcast, and we're broadcasting through WNZK 690 AM radio in Detroit, Michigan. Our number is 248-557-3300. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue discussion about President Trump's peace plan. We'll be right back right after these messages.
It's all in one grocery store, and that store is Zamzam Fresh Foods Market. Zamzam Fresh Foods Market offers fresh vegetables, halal meats, a great fresh bakery, as well as nuts and spices and much more. They also offer special deals every Wednesday, so don't forget to ask for your favorite foods, as shish kebabs are ready to go. So please stop by Zamzam Fresh Foods Market at 24065 Orchard Lake Road in Farmington Hills. Their phone number is 248-476-0300. Again, that phone number is 248-476-0300. And they are open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Zamzam Fresh Foods Market is your one-place stop for all your grocery shopping needs and your favorite foods.
The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
Kashat's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab offers a great array of your favorite Mediterranean meals. Meals range from lamb specialties, shawarma sandwiches, seafood dinners, and they offer special big trays of your favorite food, plus much more. Kashat's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab address is 32839 Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills. Their phone number is 248-538-9552. That number again is 248-538-9552. And the supermarket is open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Kashat's Mediterranean Market and Shish Kebab will definitely leave you satisfied.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Imad Nakash is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Imad Nakash. See Dr. Imad Nakash and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
If halal is important to your family, you can trust that Miramar will offer not only the highest quality halal products, but the best tasting and healthiest foods that can be placed on your family table with confidence. Miramar is the first and oldest halal certified food brand in America, serving the Arab and Muslim community, and offers a wide range of halal food products. Check out Miramar's halal food selection today by visiting Miramar's executive distributor, Ziyad Brothers Importing, at www.ziyad.com.
And welcome back to the Arab Street Radio and Podcast. I'm Ray Hanania. Our number is 248-557-3300. What's your feeling about President Trump's peace plan? Should we accept the peace as Arabs? Should the Palestinians accept the peace? should they work with the Israelis? Because here's what's going to happen. The Palestinians are going to reject it. Hamas is going to go berserk. They'll probably explode suicide bombings. They'll do anything to prevent peace because that's the only way they survive. They have no following except in suffering. And then the Palestinian government, which is weak, and really President Mahmoud Abbas is a good person, but he's not very good at leading the country. He's surrounded by people. And I can't blame them because they're living in desperation. They have no hope. It's now focused on themselves. They want to feed their families. They need money. Everybody has to earn money and live. So they're going to do whatever they can do to keep the government in power and get whatever money they can. But he just has no influence. So they're going to say no. So what's going to happen is President Trump will unveil his peace plan, right? This two-state solution. That's what he's doing, giving Palestinians 90% of the West Bank. It's a very small percent of what all Palestine was. But the Israelis, remember, they took what they could get in 1948. Then they took again in 1967. They continue to take whatever they can get on the belief that they have the talent and the intelligence and the ability to build on it. And that's exactly what they've done. Why don't the Palestinians do that? Why don't the Palestinians take what they can get and have the confidence in themselves that they can build on it, that they could achieve something, that it's a foundation for the future? That's what Palestinians need to do. But instead, we got these extremists in Hamas. We got these terrorists. And believe me, don't say that. I'm not saying that the Palestinians are the only one with terrorists and extremists. They're not. The Israelis are just as bad, if not worse, because they have the power and they have the choice to be good or bad. Many Palestinians don't have a choice. All they have is being oppressed, and violence and anger are the only choices they believe they have. We need to give them another choice. We need to rise up above the extremists on both sides. We need to rise up and push moderation. We need to rise up and reinstall the belief and hope that peace is possible. And whatever this plan is, I don't care. It's like we're falling down a crater in a volcano. And there's a piece of a land shelf on the side, and we have an opportunity to land on it and stand up and stop ourselves from falling into the mouth of the volcano and burning up. But we say, no, let's fall into the mouth of the volcano and burn up, because that's better than having a mini-state on that little shelf on the side of the wall, where maybe we could climb out of that hole and establish a situation in 10, 20, 30 years where we can all live together without killing each other. Because every day someone dies. And right now, here's what the game is. The game is who's better at spinning the murder to blame the other side. That's what's happening. That's where the focus is. Who's better at manipulating the news media, which I think is pro-Israel, because not just because there are people in the media who are pro-Israel activists, who write columns that are pro-Israeli, like Tom Friedman at the New York Times. Please, that guy's, it's disgusting how he's sold out in a very creative way, using his talent not to promote peace, but to promote himself. I don't blame him. Why should he promote peace? There's no benefit in peace, apparently. Everybody's screaming and shooting at each other and killing each other. We're not going to have it. But right now, the game is this. Who can better spin their story to make themselves look good, rather than putting our energies into who can come up with a peace plan and make it successful so that we can stop killing each other and Israelis and Palestinians can live together in peace and respect each other. That's where we should be. That's what we should be doing. But nobody wants to put the effort into it. So I'm just saying that, you know what? Maybe one day we can dig ourselves out of this. And I think this peace plan is a good start. I think that even if it's a flawed peace plan is better than no peace plan at all. A flawed peace movement is better than not having any peace movement. And listen, I blame the moderates, the Israeli moderates like Americans for Peace Now, the New Israel Fund, J Street. They're afraid to stand next to Palestinians because when you say Palestinians, I have to live in an environment where my community is crazed, angry about what's happening, and those extremists circulate in my community. We have extremists every place who all they do is take advantage of the violence to promote themselves up, and that scares away the moderates like J Street. They don't want to stand with somebody like me. They don't, because I'm the typical Palestinian, and I'm not good enough for them. Americans for Peace Now, they don't want to stand with me. New Israel Fund, they don't want to stand with me because they're afraid. They like to talk about peace, but they're afraid to make the step because they will lose support. The Israeli right, the extremists, they're nuts, and they're very sophisticated. They're beating up on J Street. They're beating up on Americans for Peace Now. They're beating up on the New Israel Fund. These moderate groups, the Israeli right, the extremist right, is beating up on all of them, calling them anti-Semitic. We need to push for a peace plan that works. And I think this peace plan works. And if we miss this opportunity, then it's over, folks. All we will be doing for the next generations to come is fomenting hate and anger and resulting in violence. Is that what you want? Seriously. Is that the choice you want, to see more people dead? I don't want to see that. I want to see us achieve a peace plan. I would like to see us do something. Anything is better than what we have now. If you believe that, then you need to support this plan. If you don't believe it, tell me what the alternative is. That's all. I dare anybody out there who doesn't accept a proposal to create two states to end the violence, tell me, anybody out there, what is the alternative plan? What would you do? And they don't have a plan. All they do, and I have to fight with the extremists in the Arab community all the time. All the time. They say, no, Ray, you're supporting normalization. You're surrendering. You have no pride. You're a traitor. Blah, 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 blah. But then I ask them, okay, then what do you want to do? And they go, we're going to destroy Israel. I go, no, you're not. You're not going to destroy Israel. Israel's going to destroy you. Well, maybe not you, but everybody else. And you will be sitting there promoting your stupid, self-destructive option of no plan, and while everybody is dying, 295 Palestinians killed in the Gaza Strip because of a conflict that shouldn't exist. And the only way to stop it isn't to just beat up on the Israelis. That's not going to happen. We have to document it. We have to show what happens. Some people should be prosecuted for war crimes on both sides, in Hamas and in the Likud and in the Israeli government, in the Palestinian government. Yeah, people have committed crimes. But do we just sit there and focus on that? Is that all we do? No. We have to have a choice. And I challenge anybody out there to tell me what's the alternative to a two-state solution. Tell me. I don't care who you are. I will give you the opportunity to speak. But that's the problem. Nobody wants to talk about what they want to do. All they want to talk about is how they want to hate and how they want to accentuate their anger and turn their anger into action and their emotion. Palestinians, I see them all the time. Their anger becomes so horrible because of the suffering, because of the frustration. That anger and emotion turns into violence. And I blame Israel for that, because the Israelis could be doing more to make it easier for Palestinians to support peace, but they don't want to, because there are a lot of Israelis in the Israeli government, not Israeli people, not Jews, not Christians, not Muslims, but in the Israeli government who don't want peace, because for them, it's a job too. It's the biggest employer. The conflict is the biggest employer. It's the biggest career field for Israelis and Palestinians, and I think it should stop. Our number is 248-557-3300. Is there one person who opposes this plan, who has a better idea? You call and you tell us what that better idea is. I want to hear it. 248-557-3300. 248-557-3300. You're listening to the Arab Street Radio and Podcast, and I'm Ray Hanania. It's January 18th, and again, I'm going to be here next Friday also. Layla Al-Husseini with U.S. Arab Radio is traveling, and I'm hosting the show some extra Fridays. Normally, I'm only here on the second Friday of every month, but I podcast all my radio shows, and I also do interviews, and you can get all that information at thearabstreet.org on the web, or you can go to hanania.com, where you can find all the links to all my columns in the Middle East Monitor online, the Arab News newspaper, which is in print and online, and I also write for several American newspapers on American politics, and which is really what I love to do. Anyway, it's the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, hopefully there's somebody courageous enough who opposes peace, who will pick up the phone at 248-557-3300 and tell me why they oppose peace, and not just why they oppose peace, but what's the alternative. Spell out the alternative. That's what the extremists can't do. They can't give us an alternative that provides any hope for anybody. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to be right back right after these messages.
انتهى الاجتماع ومحتارين هناكل فين؟
من الآخر وبدون تفكير أورشد فودز أفضل وأحسن قرار.
عنده أكلات طيبة يا ترى؟
أورشد فودز عنده أفضل تشكيلة من المحاشي والمشاوي والمقبلات والسلطات والفطاير، وكمان بتتسوق لكل احتياجات الجروسري والملحمة وغيره بأسعار خاصة بمناسبة الأعياد، والأحلى إنه بنفس المكان.
على ضمانتك أروح وأجرب.
ولو على ضمانة الشيف، وبجودة وخدمة ممتازة وسعر منافس، ولو عندك مناسبة خليها عليهم.
أورشارد فودز أند جروسري يقع على أورشارد ليك رود بين 12 و 13 مايل في مدينة فارمينغتون هيلز. رقم الهاتف 248-516-3121 248-516-3121.
وعلى رأي المثل لقمة هنية بتكفي مية.
If you have immigration questions dealing with wanting to visit the United States, wanting to work in the United States, wanting to study in the United States, or bringing your family to the United States, you need to contact Lagana and Associates Law Firm. Lagana and Associates Law Firm practice areas include family and business immigration and deportation. Dealing with cases overseas in the Arab region, for free consultation, please call their WhatsApp number at 001-617-283-1018. Lagana and Associates Law Firm offers experienced guidance that will help you with your legal needs as well as navigating the legal system successfully with confidence. Again, their number is 1-617-283-1018.
Life is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
تعرفوا شيء، احنا كتير بنهتم بالمقبلات بالاكل الشامي،
واحنا بنهتم بالبهارات والتسبيكة في الاكل المصري،
واحنا نهتم هواية باللحوم وجودتها بالاكل العراقي، واحنا في مطعم عشتار نهتم بيكم. اعتمدوا علينا ايا كان. نحن في عشتار نعرف ان لكل مذاق اسرار، فنحن نقدم اجود انواع اللحوم من ملحمة عشتار الواقعة على 56865 راين رود.
عشتار قصة حضارة ترويها لكم أطباقنا المميزة في كل زيارة.
تفضلوا بزيارتنا في 3625 East 50 Mile Road, Sterling Heights.
مطعم عشتار بإدارة فادي بهنام وعلي البغدادي. 586-698-2585 586-698-2585.
When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600.
And welcome back to the Arab Street Radio and podcast broadcast from Chicago through 690 AM WNZK Radio in Detroit, Michigan. We're on the air live right now, and our number is 248-557-3300. We're talking about the rumored peace plan that President Trump is going to unveil. And I know there are a lot of people that don't like President Trump, and honestly, the guy is not the best president in the world. That's for sure. But who is? Okay? Who is? I mean, there are a lot worse. Believe me, on both sides, Democrats and Republicans. But for me, that's not the issue. For me, I believe that President Trump was going to be the only presidential candidate who was going to unveil a peace plan that might give Palestinians and Israelis one last chance to walk out of this hellhole that we've all dug ourselves in and walk toward peace and find a way to respect each other and silence and shut up the extremists and embrace peace, embrace moderation, and maybe stop the violence. That's the one thing. And it's not about President Trump, although the guy he lets his mouth get in the way of his mind every minute. His stupid comments are really embarrassing and ridiculous. But then again, who hasn't been embarrassing? You think Hillary Clinton would have been any better? Even Bernie Sanders, sometimes I wonder about him. But yeah, he's not the best president, but I don't care about that. What I care about is that there is going to be a plan on the table that he's going to put there that will give Palestinians 90% of the West Bank to form a state, and this is according to the Israeli media. Now, it's interesting that it's the Israeli media that's publicizing this plan, and none of the Arab media has any information other than what the Israelis have been publishing. They publish it in the Jerusalem Post. I used to write for the Jerusalem Post. They're a little too extreme for me. But, you know, this goes back and forth. Extremism isn't a solid rock. It wavers sometimes. So sometimes you can be in an environment of extremism and push for moderation and peace and hope. And then the Times of Israel also ran a story. But none of the Arabs have run a story. All the Arab media has done is picked up on what, you know, the Israeli media has written about. And they say that President Trump is about to unveil a peace plan for Israelis and Palestinians. And believe me when I tell you, it's pretty much the plan that has always been on the table, the two-state solution. It's probably eroded. And I know Palestinians are going to argue that, oh, it's far worse than what they offered us in 1993. Yes, in 1993, it looked like we had some hope. But the Israelis murdered Yitzhak Rabin, who is probably the driver of peace. And there hasn't been one person like that since. He was murdered by an Israeli fanatic and disciple of Benjamin Netanyahu. And then Netanyahu didn't order that killing, but the guy who killed him, Yigal Amir, is a Netanyahu fanatic, an Ariel Sharon fanatic, and he murdered and shot Rabin right point-blank range several times, killing him that day in November 1995 and ending the peace process as we know it. And it's been in total disruption now for 23 years. We haven't been able to get it off the ground. This is the first time that there is one chance where the President of the United States is willing to push for the two-state solution, the beginnings of peace. And I'm saying, yes, it's not the best plan as a Palestinian. Yeah, I don't like to see such a small amount of territory being given to Palestinians, but I believe in our cause. I have faith in what is justice. I have faith and strong belief in what is right, and I know that I will prevail. I have confidence in the Palestinians that the good Palestinians, the moderate, we can build off of that, and we could turn it into something better. Now, some Israelis go, oh, you mean you're going to want more from us? No, what I'm going to want is both sides to stop hating each other, and when two people stop hating each other, when two people become friends, two people will do anything to help each other. And I think that in the future, we may find Israelis who are like that, who will reach out to us and work with us so that we all live in this holy land, one small sliver of land along the Mediterranean coast with all these great history and biblical background. We can all do that. I think that's where we're headed. Now, I have faith that we can build on this small plan that Trump is supposedly going to propose. Now, why did the Israelis come out with it now? I'll tell you why. And I think it's possible the Israelis media are lying, that they made this up. It's very possible that the writers at the Jerusalem Post and even the Times of Israel are playing a shell game here by proposing this because the Israeli elections are in April. And I think they want to whip up the flames of anger and among the extremists and tell them, if you vote for a moderate, this is what's going to happen. They want to rally the fanatics and the extremists in the Israeli voter blocks, and they want them to vote to re-elect a fanatic, someone worse than Netanyahu. And, you think that's not possible, but it is possible. The Israelis have leaders that are far worse than Netanyahu. He's still a fanatic, but he's not the worst. And I think this was intentionally leaked right now because they want to impact the elections in April so that a fanatic wave will sweep over Israeli voters so that they will embrace hate and rejection and confrontation rather than peace and two states. Now, on the Arab side, it's going to work the same way. The Israelis are smart. They're not stupid. Even the fanatic Israelis, they know that they can depend on the Palestinians to shoot themselves in the foot the way they always do. The Israelis will not reject this plan. Listen to me when I say this. The Israeli government, the fanatics who are running Israel, and there are a lot of good Israelis in Israel, but they're not running the government. The Israeli fanatics who are running the government will step back. They will say they support the plan, knowing full well that the Palestinians can be depended on to pull the rug out from under peace and reject the peace plan and cut their noses off to spite their face, because that's what the Arabs do real well. We know how to get angry. We know how to get emotional, but do we know how to be clever? Do we know how to be strategic? Some of us do, but most of us do not. We suffer. We've been oppressed since World War I, when the West came in there and oppressed us, and they saw us. They didn't see us as people. They saw us as mineral rights. They saw us as oil profits. They saw us as empire building. They wanted the land. They wanted to control us, so they put puppets in to run us and control us. And in doing so, they fed the extremist monster over the last 100 years. And that's what they've been doing until we're where we're at today. A horrible situation where every day headlines bring news stories about people dying, people being killed. And I think that should stop. And I'm challenging anybody out there who rejects this two-state solution. Tell me what the alternative is, if you have the courage to do it. Most of them don't, because they have no plan. Anybody who says they don't support this plan has no alternative except hatred, anger, and violence. That's all they have on both sides. So the Israelis are going to accept this plan, and the Palestinian leadership, as they always do, will shoot themselves in the foot, and they'll be the first to reject it. And the Israelis will say, hey, see, we wanted peace, but it was the Palestinians who said no. What can we do? They're extremists. They're angry. They're hate-filled. And then the extremist people out there will start churning out all the hate and extremism in their rhetoric through their conferences. I don't go to these conferences anymore in the Palestinian community because most of them are focused on hate and anger. It's sad. Even the ADC, conferences that they hold in Washington. I used to be very active in ADC, but it shifted from civil rights to feeding the monster of anger. There's no courageous leader to stand up to the monster of hatred and stop it. Where is that leader in the Palestinian community? I wish there were one. 248-557-3300. If you reject the two-state solution, I want you to call in and tell me why you reject it and what the specific alternative is that will give Palestinians some act of dignity and a life of safety and dignity. You do that. 248-557-3300. I'm Ray Hanania here at the Arab Street Radio and Podcast. And by the way, you don't have to call in because I know most of the people who reject two states are afraid to call in, but they don't have to. This podcast will be podcast and it'll be put online and it'll be downloaded 6,000 times by people all over the world. So I'm not worried that nobody has called in to take this on. It doesn't bother me because I have confidence in myself, the same confidence that I think Palestinians should have, that in accepting peace with Israel, that we can build on that and build a better life, not just for ourselves, but for them and the entire region. Peace is the only alternative. Compromise is the only alternative, and there is nothing else that we can pursue. I'm Ray Hanania. You're listening to the Arab Street Radio Podcast, and we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I'll talk some more. I don't care. I can talk forever because that's what I do for a living, write and talk forever. I'm Ray Hanania. We'll be right back right after these messages.
Are you going to start a restaurant or grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
انتهى الاجتماع ومحتارين هناكل فين؟
من الآخر وبدون تفكير أورشد فودز أفضل وأحسن قرار.
عنده أكلات طيبة يا ترى؟
أورشد فودز عنده أفضل تشكيلة من المحاشي والمشاوي والمقبلات والسلطات والفطاير، وكمان بتتسوق لكل احتياجات الجروسري والملحمة وغيره بأسعار خاصة بمناسبة الأعياد، والأحلى إنه بنفس المكان.
على ضمانتك أروح وأجرب،
ولو على ضمانة الشيف، وبجودة وخدمة ممتازة وسعر منافس، ولو عندك مناسبة خليها عليهم.
أورشارد فودز أند جروسري يقع على أورشارد ليك رود بين 12 و 13 مايل في مدينة فارمينغتون هيلز. رقم الهاتف 248-516-3121 248-516-3121.
وعلى رأي المثل لقمة هنية بتكفي 100.
Life is a non-profit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
If halal is important to your family, you can trust that Miramar will offer not only the highest quality halal products, but the best tasting and healthiest foods that can be placed on your family table with confidence. Miramar is the first and oldest halal certified food brand in America, serving the Arab and Muslim community, and offers a wide range of halal food products. Check out Miramar's halal food selection today by visiting Miramar's executive distributor, Ziyad Brothers Importing at www.ziyad.com.
The Rama Relief Foundation provides humanitarian aid into areas inside of war-torn Syria, as well as aid to the refugees who have fled to the neighboring countries in the Middle East. The foundation offers food baskets, container shipment, mental health, education, soup kitchens, and more. Go to ramarelief.org or call 248-990-4247. Any donation amount made to Rama will go to sustaining many lives. Call now 248-990-4247.
And welcome back to the Arab Street Radio and Podcast. I'm Ray Hanania, Lonely in Peace, the only person promoting the two-state solution, and I don't care but success starts with one person. I am not going to stop. I think that President Trump's plan to push the two-state solution, regardless of how flawed it may or may not be, we don't know what the actual details are. We're only getting the plan through Israeli media sources. And as I mentioned during the radio show, they're probably doing it not because they support the plan, but because there's an election in April and they want to impact the election. And they believe that talk of peace brings out the angry, hate-driven voters in Israel to re-elect some of the fanatics like Benjamin Netanyahu, who are already running the country and driving it over the lives of Palestinians who are confused, disorganized, and have no plan for themselves. We're just like, we're targets. That's all we are. We're like little targets, little ducks at a circus, a carnival act, where they shoot at us and we just kind of swing by, hoping we don't get hit. Because we don't have any alternative. We don't have any creative leadership. We don't have anybody smart who's going to push for peace. And because it's easier to be angry and it's easier to be hateful than it is to be creative and smart and strategic. You know, there are many faults of the Palestinians. And you know what? The road to success starts with the first thing, which is recognizing your faults and your failures. And when you recognize your failures, you can take the first step to becoming successful. If you refuse to recognize your failures, if you refuse to recognize your shortcomings, you cannot be successful. And that's part of Arab culture. They refuse to recognize their failings. They don't like to talk about it. They'd rather pretend that they didn't fail. They'd rather pretend that it wasn't Gamal Abdel Nasser who screwed up Arab nationalism by boasting and bragging that he was going to drive Israel into the sea. They want to pretend that it's not their Hamas suicide terrorism that has turned the world off to the justice of the Palestinian cause. They want to blame it on everybody but themselves. But I accept part of that blame, and I know that we've made mistakes. And in knowing that we've made mistakes, I can see how we can build a future moving forward and building up Palestinian identity and restoring us to some form of dignity. It's very possible to do that. It's not hard. And I think the first step is to accept this peace plan, not to be the people who reject it. The worst thing the Palestinians can do, which is what I'm afraid and fear they will do, is that they will reject this plan before anybody even talks about it. They will reject it before the Israelis reject it. The Palestinian leadership, which is feeble and uninspiring, although better than the Hamas leadership, which is very violent, and all they care about is, religious racism and discrimination. It's funny how Hamas attacks Israel and says that they're a racist state because they only care about one religion, when Hamas is the same way. So I don't know. I'm stuck. But I also blame, the so-called moderate movement in the Israeli community, Americans for Peace Now, J Street, the New Israel Fund. You guys aren't doing enough to support Palestinians, to support moderation. You are not helping those voices. And I also blame the Arab leadership in Israel because, the Arab voters are 20% of the vote. They have 13 seats. They could even have more seats if they got their act together, because not all of that 20% of the Arabs in Israel who can vote, they don't all vote. And if they all would vote and stop, accepting this ridiculous, stupid, ignorant premise that normalization is bad, somehow they'd rather say that, normalization is haram. That's terrible. If they would stand up and vote in unison, 100%, they could change Israel. They could establish a moderate government. They could make a difference. Ahmed Tibi, the Israeli Arab Knesset member, Deputy Speaker of the House, he needs to get his act together too. Ayman Odeh, we need to stop playing to the Palestinian politics of suffering and start looking toward the Palestinian politics, defining a new Palestinian politics of hope and peace and future. That's what we need to be doing. But I don't see anybody doing that. All I see people doing one of two things: anger, screaming, emotion, or, hey, there's nothing we can do, hopelessness, shrugging. And meanwhile, the Israelis, they won't even say what they want to say about the peace plan. Really, the official government response from Israel will be after the Palestinians have killed and buried the Donald Trump peace plan. Then the Israelis will say, not that they reject it, which is what I think they would do if the Palestinians said nothing, but they will come up and say, you know what? We wanted to support it, but look, the Palestinians don't want it. What can we do, people? And that's going to drive the erasure of the Palestinian people. We will live as columns of anger. We will live as op-eds of frustration in the future. We will not live as a people on a land with the dignity of having our own state. That's where we're headed. That's what I fear. That's what I think is going to happen. I want you to go to my websites because I'm going to start a new campaign to push for peace. Once this is unveiled, I'm going to push hard to convince Palestinians that they need to accept this plan and have the confidence that they can build on it and not listen to the provocations of a very sophisticated Israeli propaganda media spin, because the Israelis are spending millions on communications and the Arabs are spending nothing on communications. They buy themselves baubles, they buy themselves big cars, they buy all the Arab world. You think they spend money on us? No, they throw money on the Palestinians the same way they throw money on a belly dancer. Let's be honest, right? Isn't that what the Arab world is? Disrespectful to the Palestinians. They're not helpful to us. They will throw money on the heads of the belly dancer before they'll throw it on to support peace. Anyway, please go to my website for the podcast. You can go to thearabstreet.org, or my main hub on the internet is hanania.com. It's also the other domain is thedailyhookah.com, hanania.com or thedailyhookah.com. You go there, you'll see everything that I do, all my writing, all my podcasts, all my audio casts. I want to thank Mike for being the producer there out in Detroit. I'm Ray Hanania in Chicago. Happy to be here. I'm going to be here next Friday, remember, on the 25th at 8 a.m. Detroit time. You can listen through the radio station broadcast, 690 AM WNZK, or you can go to my website at hanania.com or thedailyhookah.com and get the link to listen to this radio show live online the air. Mike, thank you very much. Thanks, everybody, for listening. I hope that we have peace, and I'm going to push as hard as I can to make it achieved. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great week.